In this video, I want to calmly walk you through the Octane Light Studio add-on and explain how it works. I activate the add-on simply by clicking here. Now you can see two folders. When I click on the Lighting tab, I can create Octane lights here. If I click on Lighting, it shows me all the Octane lights that exist in Octane. This is basically the same as pressing Shift+A and choosing the Octane lights under Light, just in a clearer and more organized way in one place. When I click on Create Light now, a light is created right in the center of our coordinate system. But if I first select an object and then click Create Light, the add-on understands, okay, this object should be lit, and it automatically points the light at that object. I'll click on Create Light now, the light is created, and then I switch to rendered mode at the top so we can see the result better. You can see, the light is now sitting exactly at the center of the object. Here I can choose different presets, for example, front. Then the light is automatically placed in front of the object. The height is set to 2 meters by default. I'll change it to 1 meter using this slider. I move the distance a bit further away and slightly reduce the intensity so the light is not too strong. Then I rotate the view a bit to the side and place the light, for example, on the right side of our scene. If it's still too bright, I lower the intensity a bit more. At the bottom, under Light Names, I can give the light a name if I want. But I can also just choose one of the presets, for example, Key Light. Then I move the light a bit to the side, make it a little bigger, and place it a bit higher until I like the lighting. When I'm happy with it, I simply click the button, Add to Layer and Shine, and the light setup is applied. Here we have a new layer, which is called Light Layer 1 by default. I can easily rename it, for example, to Layer 1. If I open this layer, I can see all the individual lights inside it. Here I can control the brightness of each light and change the color right next to it. Now I'll add a second light. I click on Suzanne again, then on Create Light, and this time I choose the left preset. With rotation, I turn the light a bit more to the side, move it a little further away, set the size a bit larger, and turn the intensity way down. This light will be used as a fill light. I can also just click the matching preset for that and use solo mode to see only this one light and its effect. If it's still too bright, I lower the intensity more until that side is just softly brightened. When that looks good, I leave solo mode and click Add Layer to Shine. Again, I click on Suzanne, create another light, place it more from behind, and use it as a rim light. In solo mode, I can again adjust the intensity until I get a nice light edge around the outline. I make the size a bit smaller and rotate the light so that the rim is nicely highlighted. Then I rename the light to something like Rim. Choose the matching preset and click Add Layer to Shine again. Now we have all three lights in one layer. With this whole layer I can turn it completely on or off, or control the intensity of the entire layer with one slider. If I open the layer again, I can turn each single light on or off and activate solo mode for each light individually. At the top there is a plus button. With this I create a new preset for this light setup. As soon as I click plus, the current state is saved as a preset. From now on, this rule applies. Everything I change is automatically saved in this preset in real time. If I create another preset, click the plus button again, I can keep working as usual, move lights, move them up or down, rotate them, or place them somewhere else in the scene. For example, I move one light upwards, rotate it a bit, take another light and pull it to the front, just like we are used to in Blender. All these changes are saved in the currently active preset. That means I can switch between the different presets at any time. If I notice, for example, I don't like the rim light in this preset, I can simply turn it off in this preset. This change is then only saved in this preset. The same goes for colors. If I open the color picker and choose, for example, a yellow tone, this color is also saved in the preset. This way, I can create many different lighting setups. One example. I click on Suzanne, create a new preset, add another light, set the preset to front, increase the height so the light comes from above, name the light top light, and save it. If I now switch to another preset, the add-on understands. In this preset, this top light didn't exist yet, so it is automatically disabled there. In the preset where I created it, it is active. Now we move on to the next section, the place mode. When I click here, the buttons change and I get two tools for placing lights: orbit mode and spot click mode. If I select the key light, for example, and click on orbit, a message appears. Select a mesh object to orbit around. That means I click on a mesh, for example on Suzanne, and the light automatically points to the center of this object. While I rotate the view, the light always stays aimed at the object. So I can easily orbit around the object and place the light on this orbit exactly where I need it. When I'm done, I click Exit Orbit Mode and we see the normal light settings again. All changes still apply to this one layer. Next, let's look at the spot click mode. I select the light again and switch to spot click mode. Here we have several modes. For example, aim only. In aim only mode, I can simply click anywhere in the scene, for example on the floor, and the light will automatically point to that spot. If I click on Suzanne, the light looks directly at her. The nice thing about this is I can very precisely control where the light is looking. For example, directly into the character's eye. After that, I can adjust height, distance, intensity, and everything else like we already know. This way, lights can be placed very quickly and intuitively in the scene without having to manually align them. Next, we look at the lift and aim mode. Again, I click on the object. You can see the light still stays aimed at the point I click on, but in this mode, I can only change the height of the light. That means I move the light up or down while it keeps pointing at the same spot on the object. After that, we have the move and aim mode. I click on Suzanne again and the light automatically aligns along the normal of the surface I click on. If I place the light on the top, for example, it shines down onto the object from above. When I then click Exit, I can go back to my saved presets at any time. Finally, let's take a look at link mode. This one is really useful. First, I add a few objects. For example, a mesh. Here, a cube. I scale the cube down a bit and place it on the side of the scene. Now, I want one specific light, for example my top light, not to light this cube. To do that, I first select the top light. Then I click on Link Mode and then on Visual Light Linking. Now I am in Visual Light Linking mode. All objects that are lit by this light are shown in green. That means right now this light is affecting everything in the scene. If I don't want the cube to be lit by this light, I just click on the cube and choose Exclude Selected. The cube then turns red. This means this light no longer affects the cube. The nice thing is, this setting is also saved in the current preset. We also see that this light now has an ID, for example ID 2. And all objects that should be lit by this light automatically get the same ID. The add-on handles this in the background. If I now switch to another preset, we see if this light does not exist in that preset, the add-on remembers that as well. And the light linking is always saved per preset. Another example. I go to a different preset and I want our key light to stop lighting Suzanne. I click on Visual Light Linking, select Suzanne, choose Exclude Again, and then click Exit. Now Suzanne is no longer affected by this light. I go back to Control, delete all the test presets so it's clearer, and remove some of the lights as well. In the end, only one light is left. Under Light Linking, I set it back so that this light affects all objects normally. If I want, I can now duplicate the whole layer. I go to Control again and click Duplicate Layer. Now I have a second layer with the same setup. I can rename this new layer, for example, to Key Light 2. Then I can switch to Place Mode, activate Orbit Mode, click on the object and rotate the light to the other side of the scene. Now I have two different layers with separate light setups. I can turn each layer on and off, control the brightness per layer, and combine the layers to build more complex lighting moods. Of course, you can also copy lights inside a single layer. For example, I can select a light, click Duplicate Light or the matching duplicate button, and I get a copy of that light. I select this copy, go into Place Mode, click Orbit, select my object, for example Suzanne, and move the light to the other side of the scene. This way, you are very flexible with the positions of your lights. I can also move single lights between different layers. If I select a light in the front and click Move to Layer, I can assign it to another layer. If I then open this target layer, I see that the light is now inside that layer. As long as I am in this Move mode, I can quickly rearrange different setups. I can also duplicate complete layers. At the top with the Duplicate Layer button, I copy the whole layer. Now I have two layers, for example layer 1 and layer 2. I then rename them in a meaningful way, like layer 2, layer 3. Inside these layers I can rename single lights, for example Key Light Key 2, and then move them to other layers using Move to Layer. So if I want to move the light Key 2 from one layer into layer 3, I select the light, click the button, choose layer 3, open layer 3, and there is the light now. One more important point. I am in the Key Light layer, create a new preset, and change Suzanne's material, for example by making it a bit more shiny. If I now want a specific light to have no influence on the shine, specular, I select this light, go into the settings, and turn off its visibility in the specular channel. When I switch to another layer or preset, I can see this setting has been saved. The same is true for the shape of the light. For example, if I change a rectangular light to a round light, this round shape is stored in the corresponding layer preset. I think you now have a good idea of what you can do with this add-on for Octane. While I was editing this video, I realized I had left out an important topic: how to use the add-on in a real production. So in this scene, I set up a small example with 3 lights, each using a different preset. Instead of just switching between presets inside the add-on, it's much more practical in real projects to organize your different light setups as separate collections in the outliner. The add-on already makes sure that all created lights are placed in a collection automatically, and we can use this to keep our variations clean and organized. First, I select the collection with my first light setup. Right-click on it and choose Duplicate Collection. This creates a copy of that preset as a separate collection, which I can hide for now if I want. I do the same with the second and third setup. Each lighting version is duplicated and stored as its own collection. If I now hide the original setup, I end up with 3 clear lighting variations that I can switch between at any time. In production, you can then simply decide which version you want to use by turning the corresponding collection on or off. This way you can quickly compare different lighting setups, add extra lights if needed, and manage all variations cleanly without losing track of them. If you have made a lot of changes inside one collection, for example, completely changed the lighting and maybe added new light sources, you can easily bring this setup back into the add-on. To do that, I first clean things up and delete the current light setup in the add-on. Important: when you delete lights through the add-on, they are not only removed from the list in the add-on, but also from the corresponding collections in your scene. If you click Delete or Delete Hierarchy, the lights are removed from the collection immediately. In the example, I also delete the old presets so we can continue with a clean state. After that, you can import a new setup from your scene into the add-on. Simply select all light sources that belong to the lighting setup you want to use. Then go to the add-on settings. There you'll find the Import button. As soon as you click it, the selected lights are imported into the add-on and used as a base for new presets. From that point on, you can work with the add-on as usual. Change settings, adjust intensity and color, create more presets, and make new collections for different variants. This way, any manually created or later edited light setup from your scene can be brought directly into the add-on. This gives you a lot of flexibility for different lighting variations and setups with many different light sources. And with that, we're done here. You now have a good overview of how to use this tool together with your own lighting setups in a useful way. You can find the add-on on the Superhive Market website. Just search for Octane Light Studio. I also offer another add-on for Octane called Octane HDRI Studio. With it, you can work with HDRIs in a way that no other HDRI management tool currently offers. The add-on permanently saves all rotations of your HDRIs, which can save you a lot of time. Alright, enough talking. I'm happy about any comments. Feel free to share the video, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.